Hello everyone, it is November 25th and it's been over a couple of months since I made a video, but a lot has happened in those 2 months. The big thing that happened was on October 2nd, my mother passed away. Now, I'm not saying that because I want sympathy or anything, I'm just telling you that's what happened. And I just sort of went numb. Now, her death was not entirely unexpected because mid-September she went into hospital and turns out she had pneumonia, and she was 93 and had some health problems, and just her body was just too old and run down. She just wasn't responding to antibiotics and treatments, and eventually she passed. So then I had to leave the state and go to her funeral, which was today, it was exactly a month ago. And then the following day we had a celebration of life for her. So, yeah, that's kind of like been my world for the last couple of months, is just dealing with all of that. I have an older sister who is executor of the estate, and she's really going through it, trying to get things out of my mother's name and into her name so that she can handle affairs. And oh my gosh, and what a nightmare. And I'm sure that a lot of you have already gone through the same thing. So, but anyhow, she's working through it. So I didn't do a whole lot of crocheting during that time. The most that I made were a whole bunch of scrunchies for my nieces and great nieces that I was going to be seeing at the funeral. And even on the airplane, well, I flew to Denver, then had to change planes, and just from LA to Denver I made 4 scrunchies on the plane. And there was this one lady in the Burbank airport, and she and I got to talking, and I think she wanted to pay me for a scrunchie. And I was like, oh no, I'll just make you one. It's no big deal. And, but she wasn't sitting next to me on the plane. So I had to wait for her to deboard, and then I gave her the scrunchie that I made her. And I had taken a whole bunch of my little frogs, like this little guy here, because I just made way too many of them. More than I have nieces or great nieces or nephews to home them with. So I took a couple with me on the plane because I was thinking maybe I'll sit next to a little boy and I'll just give him one. And sure enough, on the way to Denver, I was sat next to a mom and her son, and I gave him one, and he was so happy. He just played with it the whole time. Yeah, that was fun. And I still had one more for another leg, and I was sat next to a dad and his young son, and that dad said, no, he's got plenty of toys. So, oh well, what can you say? So anyways, I did make a whole bunch of scrunchies, and what I have been doing, hang on a second, is, well, I don't really have access to just run to the dollar store and buy these little hair bands. So I get them at Walgreens, these little squincy ones. And I've been using a 4.5mm hook, and I do 40 half double crochets around, and then 3 triple crochets in each stitch on the second row, and that's it. So let me just show you a couple that I made that I still have possession of. Okay, well, I will show you one that I still have possession of. This is a little Christmas one I made, as you can see. And it's got a little, this gold is a Vanish Choice yarn that I have. It's like a #1 yarn, almost like a sock weight yarn. But anyhow, I was concerned what the stretchiness of this would be like when I changed colors as much as I did. But there's no problem. So don't worry about changing colors if you make them. Okay, so then at my mom's celebration of life, we had a reception afterwards, and you know, the celebration of life was in a church, and so then they just cleared out the sanctuary and rolled in some tables, and we had this reception. Actually, it was a meal that was catered in by some Mexican restaurant. I actually didn't eat it, not because I didn't want to, but right before we had even gone to the celebration of life, we'd all gone out to eat, and I was like, I am just not hungry. I don't want to eat. So that was not the first time it happened, because actually right before her funeral, which was on a Friday, well, I had made a big 9 by 13 pan of quiche, and that stuff was about 1.5 inches thick. And I had made it for all the people staying at my youngest sister's house, which there were 5 of us in total. And so I had eaten this quiche, which was very, very filling. And then we went out for pizza. And I was like, I can't eat this pizza. I'm not hungry. But it's just like it was like food after food after food. And just after a while, you just have to stop or start refusing it because it's just too much. So, and then the crazy thing is, I came back, had another celebration of life to go to for a friend who passed away at the end of September. And after his celebration of life, we had a reception, which was kind of like a mini meal. And then right afterwards, they wanted to go out to eat. And I was like, ugh, come on. So I didn't eat then either. Anyways, so back to my mom's celebration of life. I was at this one table, and this beautiful young blonde woman sat next to me. And she was pregnant. And I didn't know who she was. But turns out that she was, well, my brother was a swimming coach for a while, and she was one of his swimmers. And, I'm sort of like out of great-grand nieces and nephews to make stuff for. So I'm always looking for somebody to actually make things for. This was this girl's first baby. So I said, and her baby is due in January. And I said, I will make you some things for the baby. So one of the first things I made, well, it's the only thing I've completed so far. Let's see. I have to show this book. Okay. This is from the book Peek-a-Pal 3. And you can see on the back there's he's a seagull. And here's gosh, I can never get this right. Okay, let's see, right. Oh, for crying out loud. Okay. Right here. Can you see that seagull? Okay. So I made the seagull. And here he is. He has these little feet, but he doesn't actually stand up. He's not, they won't support the weight of the seagull. But, so now I'm like, well, should I glue the hat on or sew the hat on? I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do yet. Anyways, so I'm sending this to her. Then I got some, I've been to Michael's a couple times, and I bought some Loops and Threads Skinny Chenille. And this is in the colorway, it says Beetle Multi. Anyways, it's got like a light purple and some yellow and white in it. Anyhow, so I'm not finished with this, but I've started making a blanket. I made a chenille blanket for one of my nieces, and I really liked the fact that it was chenille. I really liked just the way it felt, and I think from now on when I make a baby blanket it will be chenille. And I know I have another great niece or nephew on the way, probably, I think it's going to be in May, so about 6 months away. Don't know the sex yet, probably might not know until after, but I'll make a baby blanket regardless. It'll just be sort of generic. Okay, so another thing that I did was I just got crazy making those loaf cats. So I made enough for all my great nieces. But then I just kept having like little bits of leftover yarn, like this bit. And I thought, well, I'll just make some small ones and I'll just use that as part of the stuffing for the small ones. So every time I had little bits of yarn left over, or just, you know, cuttings from weaving in ends and stuff, I just made a little pile and I said, okay, well, I'll make another little loaf cat. Well, I ended up making about 16 little ones. I'll put a picture right here. So I only have 2 left. I've given all the rest away and I'm sending those 2 off to someone. I do have some more blanket yarn coming, and I will probably make a couple more cats. I don't know, I'll have to see. I did have the pattern memorized, and I probably still do, but I'll just look at the video again just for clarification. And also, here's a little picture of some of the scrunchies I made. I made some last week for a friend who was visiting. Though it's, you know, I went to a celebration of life on, when was it? November 6th for my friend who died in September. And his wife came to stay with us for a couple of days. And she has a whole bunch of grandkids. So I said, well, I will make scrunchies for, she was going up north in California to visit one of her kids and her grandkids there. And I said, I will make scrunchies for you. So I just whipped out 8 scrunchies that night, and that was a picture of them. So really, that's kind of like what I've been working on for crochet. But I have acquired a few new crochet books. So I thought I would show those to you. Okay, once again, it's Pica-Pau 3. And I have Pica-Pau 2. And I have Pica-Pau 1 on its way. It's been delayed for some reason. Then I thought, let's see, okay, I got the Unicorns and Dragons. This is the first one. And also about these books, sometimes when you see them online, they might have a different cover. And I think it was this one, maybe not. But one of them had a figurine on the cover, but that figurine wasn't in the same book. Okay, so here's number 2. Of Unicorns and Dragons, and then this is number 3. So let's see, let me show you what's on the back of number 3. You can kind of get an idea of what to expect. And then, let's see, okay, in number 2, here's what you can expect. And I don't specifically have plans to make stuff yet from these. And here's number 1. Okay, and let's see. Pika Pals don't have anything on the back. Okay, so, and these are all by the Meteor books. So, okay. Then I don't know if I showed this one. I might have shown this one in the last video, but I'll show it again. Okay, Sweet Crochet Friends. So, anyways, there's some of them. Okay, so I do have some more crochet books coming, as I said. So I guess that's really like what has been going on. I'm just sort of getting back into the groove of crocheting again, and it just kind of, my mother's death just sort of, I don't want to say it took the wind out of my sails exactly, but I just kind of went numb for a while, and I felt like I had ADHD, like I could not concentrate on anything for more than a couple of minutes. It was very hard for me to watch videos and not be like all over the place and get to the end of a video and not even remember what the video was about. That's kind of how I coped with it. But life goes on. Both my parents are passed now, and my siblings and I have one uncle left, and because we also lost a great aunt recently, and that was our last aunt. So really my siblings and I are sort of like the barrier now for the next generation. So anyhow, I hope you all have a great Thanksgiving. I'm not sure what I'm doing for Thanksgiving. I think I'm probably just staying home. And that's about it. So I will talk to you again. Bye-bye.